Ramble.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of You Can Sit With Us. Yay! I'm Becky.
I'm Maggie.
I'm Ariel.
And I'm Rachel.
You may know us as the Try Wives and Try Producers. Yes. But we're so much more than that. Yeah. Maggie's a nurse.
Yeah. I hate talking about myself. What else? I'm a dog mom.
You're too precious for this world.
Yeah. That's Ariel. That's literally
You
everyone.
love design.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I feel like I dabble in both of your guys' interests. I like makeup and I like design. I like
Zach.
babies and I like Zach. Perfect.
Wonderful. But you are not just a nurse. You are a pediatric nurse.
Oh, yeah. So I work with kids. Mm-hmm. I've been a nurse for 5 years now. Can you believe?
Can you even believe? Tell us about yourself, Becky.
Well, I'm Becky. Hello.
Bex.
Yeah. Yes,
Becky's been launching this campaign for everybody.
Trying to make Bex happen.
I do. I've been trying for like 5 years to change the narrative, to get the Y gone. For like a month, I went by Bex with an X, and then my mom literally just made fun of me forever.
Were you like 13?
I was like 25. I said it in front of my mom once, like at a restaurant. Bex. And I was like, Bex, and the girl goes, how do you spell it? And my mom goes, yeah, how do you spell it? And just dies.
Shade.
The shade of it all.
Gosh.
But I was like, why do you want to drop the Y? It's like Maggie. When I was probably in college, like when I was like making like a whole new group of best friends, I didn't want to go by Maggie anymore. I never liked Maggie. I picked Maggie when I was in kindergarten, but my real name's Margaret.
Margaret. And so did you ask?
My parents assimilated to America very fast. I was supposed to be Margarita, but she was like,
delicious name.
My mom's like, everyone's gonna make fun of her. Let's name her Margaret. So I wanted to go by Mari, but it just never caught on.
Mari.
Well, I'm gonna say it right now. I will call you whatever you want me to
No, it's
call
Maggie.
you. Okay. Becky introduced herself as Rebecca to me.
Oh,
When
there was
I
also
met-
that time.
You were going by Rebecca? I wonder if there's ever going to be a day where I'm like, call me Margaret.
Yeah. I feel like when you are being reprimanded, you get called Margaret.
Margaret.
I have like
Margaret.
one friend who calls me Margaret. And she says it with a little...
My name, I have tried so hard. It has been nearly 35 years of having this name, and I cannot shorten it to anything fun. I swear.
Ariel's
Ariel.
You could be our name.
Yeah, I could be Ari, but that's a man's name. Ariel is a man's name as well.
Oh, Ari
Yeah.
from The Bachelor.
Ari.
The worst bachelor ever.
Juan Pablo.
Oh, okay.
Come on now. We got a lot. There's
Tomato,
a lot
tomato.
to choose from. We got that Chris guy who's like going to jail.
Wait, the virgin?
No, that's Colton. And fun fact, Colton they did break up, but the other fun fact, Colton and I went to college together. We were in college at the same time. Are you surprised? Put up a picture of Becky, put up a picture of Colton, and tell me which one you think is older. Colton is like 3 years younger than me.
Really?
It's obscene. Yeah, he's I think he's like 27 or 28 right now. And I was like, this is obscene. But whenever I say that and someone's like, do you know him? I was like, no. No, I didn't know him.
How many people went to your school?
A lot.
Thousands.
It was Illinois State University.
Right. It's not like you're walking around and you're like, what's up, Colton? What's up?
I see what you're saying. I was like, no, I didn't go to a small school.
So there's no Ariel nickname.
There's absolutely no Ariel nickname. I had a close group of girlfriends in middle school, and they called me Really for a hot second. Yeah, really? Like really?
Like really?
Like
Oh my
really.
gosh.
And that didn't last very long. It never caught on.
It sounds confusing.
It is confusing.
Like, are
really
you
is.
talking to me or are you just
Exactly.
making a statement or a question?
That's weird.
So I just stuck with Ariel.
I like it.
Yeah, I like Ariel. I like it
I
too.
also like my wife.
Oh, yeah, that's what you call him.
That's your nickname, my wife.
Yeah. And maybe that's why we gave Wes a nickname. Just like a built-in nickname, so that he just had one.
Ariel, you've got a toddler.
I do have a toddler.
What else about you?
Well, we haven't heard about you yet.
We haven't heard about
All
you
that we know
yet.
is your
We have to
name, Bex.
This is Bex.
This is Bex.
Rebecca.
Who do you live with, Rebecca?
Yeah, who do you live with?
I live with
Your cat.
Keith Habersberger, my husband, and my cat Alfred. We just got him. He's like a question mark of how old he is. He's like my favorite thing in the world right now. Only seconded by clean beauty, the environment, and TV and movies. I like was trying to
In that order?
I don't know if it's that order. I would.
Yeah.
It would be very hard to like write down what I love the most. But I think I would choose things with a heartbeat over pop culture.
Would you
know.
choose Alfred over the environment?
Oh Jesus! I mean, honestly, we kind of are choosing Alfred over the environment because like kitty litter is not. There is no way to make that like sustainable
You
without.
can teach him to pee in the toilet.
Well, not in a coastal city because cat feces has parasites.
What?
Because the first thing I thought was like, oh, I'll just scoop his poop and throw it in the toilet. But I was like, I should Google if it's going to break my apartment if I do that.
Wait, you can't.
You can't
do that?
throw cat poop specifically. I don't know about dog poop, but cat poop
I don't
has-
put Bowie's dog poop in the toilet for those of you. No,
Why would you?
It goes in the garbage.
Eco. Just kidding. In like urban cities, apparently rats survive off of dog poop because it has all the nutritional needs that it needs. So everyone pick up your dog poop. I see dog poop on the streets of LA all the time. Y'all are nasty.
Same.
Pick it up.
Gross. Pick it up.
Pick it up.
Stuff's gross. I step in it all the time. My child picks it up. It's weird. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh no.
He'll point at it first and go poo poo, and we'll be like, yeah, please don't touch it, please don't touch it. But because we're so worried about him touching it, he's like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah.
He's at that age. He's at that age where he's like, no, how about I do it anyway? Yes. So I'm Ariel. Oh, I have a toddler who. It's quarantine. He's taken over my life. He's also like 2 in a few months. And I think that age is just, they are a little whirlwind, you know? He I put away all his toys at night and he takes them all out in the morning. And it's like, it happens maybe 5 times throughout the day. I'm teaching him to put them away. I am. And sometimes he does it, but sometimes he does not. And it turns into an argument, which ends up with crying on one side and crying on the other side. And, you know. Anywho, before I had a kid, I also had other things that I did. I'm also an interior designer. I am designing the guy's new office. Yes!
So exciting.
I know. I just chose the countertops and the cabinets for the space. I know.
We're gonna have cabinets.
You're gonna have cabinets and countertops. It's gonna be so fun. Do you want to know what they look like? I mean, it's like they're gonna be like shaker, black on the bottom, white on the top. And the countertop's gonna be white, but instead of doing like a marble look, because that felt a little bit too like, I don't know, it felt kind of excessive for an office. So we went with like a white, sort of granity, but not sparkly kind of look.
How many bathrooms are going to be in the new office?
Well, there are 2 bathrooms.
Let's get back to poop.
There is a female bathroom and then there is an all gender bathroom, but they each have 2 toilets. So we're talking 4 total toilets in the space.
There's at least 50 people at my work, and we only have 1 bathroom unventilated. Yes. Welcome to a hospital.
How did we not know that?
It's just like, well, you can't poop in the same bathroom as patients. So they just put all the staff into one bathroom because it's like, oh, my doctor is in the sink, like washing his hands next to me. And
Can you go to another floor?
And we don't have a break room. We don't have a break room.
Where do you keep
guys.
your snacks?
I have to go outside and eat at a picnic table.
This is not what Grey's Anatomy taught me. They had a full-on cafeteria.
They had a locker room in which everyone was always naked.
You could always have sex there. You could lock the
Pre-shift and
bathroom door.
post-shift.
Miles knows what we're talking about.
He knows what's up.
So I'm just going to come to the Try Guys office and pretend I work there and be like,
We have
exciting.
designed it so that there are extra desks for just people that want to hang out.
That's you guys.
That's us. And Rachel and Nick have their own office, and it is like the smallest. It's going to be the coldest, darkest office of all of them.
No, cold?
It's probably going to be cold. Yeah. know, but I was
Very concerned.
I know. I actually was talking about this with Vic, who's like the contractor guy. So the air conditioning unit, there's 3 different air conditioning units in the like space, and one of the air conditioning units is for the guy's office, your office, and the conference room. And I know that, and the dial is going to be in the guy's office, of course. And so
I'm gonna change.
They're gonna
hear this.
freeze. You're gonna freeze.
And later on, they're gonna be like, "Why does our air conditioning keep going off?" Because I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna change it.
Keith will not allow it. 100-degree
nor
Keith
will
do not allow it.
Nor will Ned. Ned's gonna have it at like 72 all the time.
72 is fine.
Really? I have to have it at 78 in my house.
78.
I can't have cold air blowing on me for some reason. It just gets too cold.
Yeah.
Go queen. I mean, it's better for the environment. But
We keep it at like 74 in our house. So 72 is like, oh, cold, but okay. But I just can't deal with the people who are like 68. I'm like, no.
I think I've taught Ned that 68 is unheard of.
Unheard of. I have the
Unless
heat
it's
on
winter.
72 as well. Heat 72, cold 74.
I like breeze on me. I wish we had a ceiling fan in our apartment, but
You
I
like
just
cold air?
I like air just like on me when I'm sleeping. But I have to be bundled. So it's like my little face just airing.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, cold air at night when I'm in a blanket, absolutely. But if I'm sitting on the couch watching television and there's cold air blowing on me, I'm like, absolutely not.
Absolutely.
But I was thinking, you share an office with Nick. Nick probably runs hot.
He does.
And you look really good in sweaters. So I don't know. It seemed like a win-win.
Cover up my vent. I'm duct taping the vent.
We're going to get you one of those like little heating things and you can be a little rotisserie Rachel.
Rotisserie. So guys, I made a huge mistake last night.
What did you do?
Well, I mean, what didn't I do? But we switched Wes to a toddler bed for some reason that I can't even fathom now. Yesterday, we thought it was a great idea and just switched his bed because we stopped shooting at 2. And so both Ned and I were like, what should we do today? Let's put Wes in a toddler bed instead of his crib. When there's absolutely no problem with his crib. He doesn't like try to climb out or anything like that. We were just like, this seems like a good idea. Against doctor's orders. I've literally asked my doctor every time we go to the doctor and she's like, no, you should wait. I'm like, okay. Nope, we didn't wait. So we put him in a toddler bed last night. We like switched. It was like a really easy thing where we have the crib where you just take a side off and then you put the new side on. Wesley fell out of bed last night. Yes. So we put him to bed at like 7:30.
So it was just like free, like open.
It's not completely open. It's like it's like a half crib part where there's almost it's almost like a little barrier where they can kind of look up out of it, but they can't really climb over. But then there's a small area about a foot long, maybe a little bit more than a foot, where it's open so that they can climb out. And we thought that was great. And he loved it too. Oh my goodness. He was so excited about being able to climb in and out of his own bed. But then after he went to sleep at like 7:30, we're watching him on the monitor and he went to sleep great. He didn't try to climb out or anything like that. I was petrified that he was going to be like, oh, look, I can climb out of my bed now. I'm going to climb in. I'm going to climb out. I'm going to go get mommy and daddy when they're watching
find
TV.
all the knives in the house.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. I did not sleep last night because I was so afraid that he was just going to get out and start wandering around the house. But he didn't. He fell asleep just fine. But he normally sleeps at one end of the bed, and that's the end of the bed that has the little railing. But for some reason, he slept on the other end of the bed last night, so it was probably like 11 p.m. Ned and I were fast asleep. As you guys know, we go to sleep very early,
Like 11.
and we just hear this like thump. Sorry, Miles. I thought I changed the. Yeah. And the poor kid had just fallen out of the bed and just surprised himself and woke up on the floor. And I was like, oh my
He like
God.
slipped out. Yeah.
I think he just sort of rolled out. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. So Ned said this morning that he ran in there and Wes was standing. He was standing next to his bed, like just looking really confused. What happened?
So what happened after that? You brought him into your own bed?
I wish. No. So I think he was still basically asleep. So Ned like held him for, it was probably 20 seconds. It felt like 5 seconds. And he just fell back asleep on Ned. And Ned laid him back in his bed and he slept for the rest of the night until about 5:30. And he usually wakes up at about 6:30. But at about 5:30, he sat up in his bed. And I think he realized that it was different. And he just goes, awake, 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 awake. So that's I mean, in West talk, that's mommy, come get me.
Yep. Awake.
I'm ready. Awake.
So funny.
And so I walked in there and I said, Wes, you can climb out of your bed. And he was like, oh, okay. So he climbs out of his bed and starts to wander around. But we switched back.
You did?
We switched back. And not because I don't think he can handle it, because I don't think I can handle it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't handle the pressure of potentially having a toddler wandering around the house
At odd hours.
Exactly. Yeah.
One of my friends actually has one of these lights for her kids and like has taught him. I think he's like 4 now. But the light, you're not allowed to go and walk around the house until the light turns on.
Wow.
So he like waits there. Like,
It's a alarm clock.
he's like, mommy said, can't walk around. And the light turns on. He's just like,
My friends have this too. Like at 6 a.m. it turns yellow or whatever. And they're like, oh, now it's okay to get up. You have to stay in your room before this though.
it's a safety thing.
we
It's
have
also
that.
like a sanity thing.
Yeah.
Because you imagine like Wes walking around like 4 a.m. thinking it's like 7.
I know, like playing with his
himself a cocktail.
Awake. I mean, so my dream is that he will wake up at 4 a.m., but then open up his door, open up our door, and climb into our bed.
For sure.
And then cuddle. I would love that, but I don't think that's going to happen. A, because we have not taught him to do that. And B, because I think Ned would then immediately be like, no, it's time to go back into your bed. But I might have switched Ned over to how wonderful it is having Wes sleep in the bed. I told you guys about how we've been sleeping with Wes in the big bed when we're on vacation.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, it is glorious.
So
It
when
is
you go on
fun.
vacation, you don't take a travel crib.
Not anymore. But that's only been like only 2 months since and it's only been 2 times that we've gone on like a weekend thing, and we did not bring a travel crib.
Must
I know.
be so nice.
It is liberating.
Vacation.
Do you guys know how big those travel cribs are?
Oh, we travel with 2.
Of course you do.
Travel with 2.
Woof.
Oh my
I can barely
gosh.
pack for myself, guys. You make me feel like a pile of poo.
Ned makes fun of me for spending like hours packing, but I'm packing for myself. I'm packing for the baby. Half the time I'm packing for Ned.
I know. I used to pack for myself and my husband, Watson, and now I pack for myself and my girls, and I'm like, you take care of yourself.
You can handle this.
Yeah.
So you guys, this is your podcast. What's it going to look like? What's it going to be like?
I feel like it's going to change and develop as we go on, but we may start talking about things that are going on in the world, just having light conversations between us, pop culture.
I feel like Becky knows a lot about pop culture, and I know absolutely nothing about pop culture. But I also feel like this podcast is going to be about like being women.
I want it to feel like a conversation between friends. So anyone can turn on this podcast and listen, and hopefully we'll start incorporating guests down the line, but we really want to just, with the state of the world right now, we really just want to focus on developing this podcast and being comfortable with our dynamic and then opening it up to more people.
Yeah, and if you guys have any suggestions for things that you would want us to talk about, or that's really it, just talk about, because podcasts are for talking. You can I was going to say
Sing it out.
Yeah, I guess Keith sings in the boys podcast. But if you have any suggestions for this podcast, anything you want us to talk about, you can email us at youcansitwithUspod@gmail.com.
We have an email address.
We have an email.
Our very own.
It's for real.
Wow.
For real.
Yeah, you guys are actually best friends. So this is like a best friends conversation that is being opened up to everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like when the boys started with Try Guys, it was like they had to be sort of forced friends, and then people forgot we also had to be forced friends at the beginning, right? Like our friendship was not an organic, like
Right.
I didn't meet you in like a class
Right,
or
right.
in school or something.
We didn't think to ourselves, we should be friends.
Yeah.
I feel like we have a lot in common.
Yeah.
We actually, I think we're friends because we don't have that much in common.
Yeah.
Except for maybe our significant others.
Yeah. But we learn from each other because, again, we're not from the same backgrounds. We're not from the same places.
Yeah.
We all grew up differently.
Honestly,
So I think that's kind of cool.
do you guys ever think about that first year at the Streamys where we sat in the,
in the back?
the way back?
And table like 144.
I still have that
We were
picture.
surrounded by empty tables. Rachel, you would not believe it. Have we showed you this photo?
No, this sounds rude
It
by
is
the Streamys.
so funny.
It was so
really
funny.
funny.
Well, first of all, they wouldn't let us in because somebody forgot our ticket.
I think it was like the PR person for BuzzFeed.
Yeah.
And the boys had told us like, oh, you guys are going to come with us and you're going to sit with us and it's going to be great.
We spent
I thought
hours.
it was hilarious.
We spent hours getting ready because it was our first big event.
I know.
It was our first big event. It was the guys' first big event. We wanted to be there for them. And so they had to be with like the BuzzFeed publicist. And so we didn't know what to do. So we all showed up.
And we all like got together beforehand.
Right,
and,
we
like,
got ready
had,
together.
hors d'oeuvres and stuff. And we're all excited. And the boys were all together. And we're like, we're going to meet you there.
Yeah.
It's going to be so fun.
And we had Matt, of course.
Matt
and
was
so
there as
and so the
well.
four of us were like, we showed up. We all got an Uber together, I think.
Yeah, I think we went from Matt's house.
Yeah, we went. Yeah. And so we all, we did. We all left Matt's house. We had probably started drinking at that point. And
1,000%. Yes. We were about to go to a award show where we didn't know anything.
yeah, and so we show up, and there's not really anybody there to help us, So we walk up to the ticket table and we say, Ariel Fulmer.
We're all behind her.
We all also said Ariel. Even before she was a mom, she was our mom.
Yeah.
We would make her go.
She was the only one on camera, Ned's wife. So we're like,
Ariel, can you go? Can you go
talk
figure
to
it
them.
out? Figure it out, Ariel.
They might know you. Maybe
Yeah,
if
go,
you
Ariel,
go.
go.
Maybe if you go. So I walked over. I was like, there should be 4 tickets for us. We're the significant others of we're the plus ones of the Try Guys. And they were like, I'm sorry, who? Who are the Try Guys?
we're like, oh shit.
We were like, oh crap, this is not good. They didn't have tickets for us, and so we all started calling our significant others while they're on the red carpet. And so they're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. So we're kind of standing outside with everybody else, like this is cool. This is cool. And then finally the BuzzFeed publicist comes out and she's like, okay, so I talked to the person in charge of the Streamys and we got you tickets and so we got you a table. So come with me, And so we walk over and they put us in the farthest table, like the very last table in the entire place.
It was so funny.
Surrounded by empty tables.
Oh my gosh.
and so it's the four of us sitting back there in the back.
Like alone.
Alone.
Could you see
utterly
the guys?
alone? No, we couldn't see them.
We could see them
We could see like little
ahead,
dots.
Yeah, they were like all the way in the front.
It was unreal, but we had a fantastic time. I remember because there's an open bar and really
There's only 4 at us at like a 10-person table. So we got
Oh my
all the
God.
food.
We got all the food.
All the desserts.
Wait, all the food?
There was
we
no
got
food.
The emoji cookies that show up every
know.
year.
Yeah.
The Streamys are notorious for
I'm
not
pretty sure they
feeding anyone.
I'm pretty sure they put them in a box every year and bring them out the next year.
I think so.
Because
Emoji
they're so gross.
The emoji cookies
Are the sugar cookies that are like very hard? You guys all know what cookies I'm talking about. They're
They're so gross.
not
You've
good.
had them.
Yes, I've
Yes,
had them.
they're gross. They're
bad.
gross.
Wait, you actually ate one?
I think so. I haven't eaten all. I worked the
took a nibble.
Streamys. I hadn't eaten all day, and I was like, I'll eat some cookies.
Why not? It's the only thing on the table, and they look appetizing. Like they actually
cute.
look
They
like
are
they
cute,
could
but
be
they're
good
not
cookies, but they are
delicious.
not. They are
I
not.
can
It's like a piece of plastic.
Hit my cookie against the
stuck
table and it doesn't
onto-
break. I'm not putting that cookie anywhere near my mouth.
I know.
Maggie, was that the year we had to use someone else's names to get into the after party?
Oh, yes.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
I remember I was YB.
Yeah. I think you were YB.
I was YB and you were...
I was Sanjana Seelan.
That's right.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, you be Sanjana. And
Yeah.
Becky's like, I can't be Sanjana.
And then they even checked our IDs and stuff and I was like, YB?
It's just Becky. Why not?
Okay.
Okay, it says Bex, but
Sure, yeah.
by YB Chang.
Yeah, I know it says Rebecca here, but YB is my nickname. Speaking of YouTubers and YouTube award shows.
Oh.
Well, this has nothing to do with YouTube award shows, but it's probably where I heard of most of these YouTubers. Guys, this weekend, the YouTube space exploded in nonsense.
Oh my God.
Sure did.
Isn't it always, though?
Yes, but I feel like it exploded more than it normally does.
In like real time nonsense.
Chaos.
Yeah.
Chaos and nonsense. So Shane Dawson, videos and old clips of him have resurfaced because it's basically like every 5 years, someone finds these clips of Shane Dawson.
Every 5 years. How long has he been on the internet?
Forever. Apparently forever.
How long has the internet been around? 15 years? 20 years?
I think like the internet was invented when we were little or like babies.
But he was like one of the OGs, right?
Yeah.
And he also had like podcasts and did these other like interviews and stuff. And he was kind of this like shock jock is essentially what I would equate him to, is he says like very outlandish things. But he is like known for being super racist and saying like super racist shit, very like problematic things about young girls. But it kind of like culminated this weekend in this like epic explosion. And then randomly a beauty YouTuber that he was also feuding with, or that he wasn't feuding with, but she randomly inserted her opinion into the nonsense, and it was just chaos. And the apology videos are coming out left and right. I just think if you have to put out an apology video every 5 years, maybe you're not really sorry.
Also, maybe your content is not appropriate.
Yeah. And like, you're not doing anything. You don't have any, like, he's never had any actionable changes that he's made, right? Same with like Jeffree Star. No actions have been taken. I think a better example of an apology video is Jenna Marbles. You know, she took down and privatized all of her content. And then she even like pulled out content that nobody like had called her out for, essentially.
She called herself
out. She's like, I did this video and that's not okay. And then she's like, I'm going to take time off YouTube. I don't know if I'm going to come back, but I got some shit to do. Well, and I feel like that was like an actionable thing.
So do you accept their apologies?
Well, I'm not the one to accept, you know, her apologies. The people that she was mocking are the ones that can accept her apologies.
That makes sense.
I'll accept her apologies for like the slut shaming part, right? And I'm like, okay, that could kind of offend me.
I appreciated that in her video, she not only showed footage of things that other people found hurtful, but she also identified how she has some things that she needed to explore herself that she isn't even aware of. So I thought that was interesting. And then when I watched Shane Dawson's, I just kept seeing him repeat over and over, that was the old me. That's not me. Like, I don't know who this, like, I'm disgusted.
So I was talking about this with Ned because I watched the videos and then I thought to myself, like, what is this? Why is everybody doing this? And why is it problematic? But also, you know, why didn't somebody call them out earlier if their content was so problematic?
He has been, but though he has, right? He's been called out, like when I said 5 years, not a joke. He has been called out like on the dot almost every 5 years.
Yeah. It just, it brought up this question between us of like comedy and how comedy changes throughout time, you know, and how the people that have the most problematic content, it seems like they're the people that have been, they are the OG YouTubers. They have been on the platform for the longest time. And so their content is older there and therefore potentially more problematic because, I don't know, maybe they are terrible people, but also maybe they're like the things that they were doing were okay when they did them, which brings up a whole different question of like, why was it okay then and it's not okay now? You know, why didn't somebody call it out then?
I don't know about other people, but I think specifically with him, he has always been problematic. And like, if you look at, I took a little deep dive on the internet to see like what are people getting mad about? Like again, like Maggie said, I didn't watch his content religiously or anything. So I watched the Jake Paul documentary because obviously I want to know what's up with those other lunatics. Fully
Other
just
crazy.
Darn Midwesterners, but they're from Ohio, and I'm starting to learn. Ohio, not the place.
It's a different kind
Not the place. Not the place. Every time I listen to a true crime podcast, Ohio. We also got the Paul brothers from Ohio, Steubenville, Ohio. I mean, there was a guy who like kept women in his house for like 20 years in Ohio. I got thoughts about Ohio. Not as deep as the thoughts of Indiana, but Ohio.
Honestly, those are like the two states where if you asked me to like put the names of the states on the map of the United States, I couldn't tell you where Indiana was.
They're around Illinois.
That's how it is. The Midwest is like a black hole.
Yes, they're all big. They're all you're not sure.
I know Ohio's like big and square. I could probably find it somewhere.
Illinois is a hand.
Yeah, I lived in
Indiana's, like, down
Illinois.
here.
Yeah.
I could do Michigan, but
I digress about states. I think his stuff was always problematic. And it's not, I feel like the argument of like, well, things used to be funny. We used to be able to make that joke. Yeah, well, we used to do a lot of shit that was fucked up.
But I do believe like people can change. Like Jenna Marble's video, she showed that she is sorry and she is trying to examine.
And they can change, but do we have to be here for it? Like, do I have to be here for her personal growth or his?
Yeah.
YouTube is the way that they make money. And
not anymore. Sorry, Shane Dawson.
Not anymore. Well, okay.
Sorry, Logan Paul.
So now they have been demonetized. Yeah. Their platforms, they have been deplatformed. YouTube, like the big daddy, took them off. Basically said, you cannot be here anymore.
Well, no, they said that you can be there. You can't make money via this platform. So we'll still give you an audience who could buy your merch, but we will not share our AdSense with you.
You can't.
Right. YouTube gets 50%. Like, yeah, they get a decent split. So all of those like racist videos, all the things that the Paul brothers do, anything that anyone has done that's been monetized, YouTube has taken 50% of that.
So,
Wow.
So YouTube is still making money off of their content then?
No, now that it's demonetized,
That means no advertisers.
There's no ads.
They can't.
Okay.
But they've gotten all the money that they had used. I did have one idea of how Shane Dawson could take an actionable change. All of the money that he earned off of his highest performing videos, so probably like the Jake Paul, Jeffree Star, the long documentaries that he does, donate it. Yeah. You know where it is. You know how much you made. Money talks. If you're really interested in changing, you've shown words don't matter because you keep apologizing. You got a ton of money. We've seen your house. It's huge. Say bye-bye to some money.
Yeah.
Put it in some causes.
Seriously.
Donate it around. Ask people for their Cash App and Venmo.
Right, because the apology is just such a performance. It's so hollow.
That is what it is, yeah.
And it's centering yourself in the middle of this. It's very like the world revolves around me and I'm so sorry what I've done to the world. And I want a little less Shane Dawson and a little more anything else on the planet.
That was part of the problem that I had with Jenna Marble's apology, which seemed to be better taken than Shane Dawson. You know, people are like Shane Dawson's was very it felt very hollow, like you were saying, but Jenna Marble's, everybody's like, oh, you know, I'm really glad that she did that, and yet when I was watching it, I was thinking to myself like, Here she is saying like, I'm going to take a break from YouTube. I don't know if I'm going to come back. That felt very much to me like I'm doing this because of you guys. Like I'm going to remove myself and take my content away from you because, you know, I don't know. It just felt it felt like she was turning herself into a victim.
I don't know if I agree with that. Like I could notice parts in her video too, where she would jump cut. And she never cried on camera. Whereas with other apology videos that I've seen a lot of tears.
Yeah.
A lot of tears. And it's just, it almost, like I feel, whenever I see someone crying, I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like Stop crying. Please stop crying.
Please stop. This is why you're too good for this world.
I'm so sorry. I don't know what to do, but
I think when you get into certain videos too, they talk about like cancel culture, which is like a new thing. And I think I keep putting it in quotes because I'm like, it's not a culture. Right? It's cancel culture. I think it's holding people accountable. Do I think that you should your entire life should be ruined if you made one comment 10 years ago in high school or when you were a child? No. Do I think if you have a history and a repeated pattern of doing bad things that you shouldn't be idolized or make a ton of money? Yes, 100%.
And that's it.
But I think at least with like Tati's video that she did, 40 minutes, watch that on 2x speed.
Still 20 of my minutes of my life.
20 minutes of your life you will not get back.
back.
She was like, this idea of cancel culture, I don't want anyone canceled. I don't want blah, blah, blah. When she was talking about like Jeffree Star, who also has like a crazy history of racism and a lot of insensitive comments. Same with James Charles. It's like, it's not cancel culture if you've been doing something bad for a long time and someone says, I don't like that you're doing bad things.
Yeah.
That's different.
And
you can't lump yourself in with them.
Get to like be idolized and famous and make money off of it.
Yeah.
And also the other problem I have with all of this is they're taking up so much space on the internet with their voices. And I think we need less of their voices.
Yeah. Kind of makes me mad that I was like watching their videos to know what was going on when I could have just been consuming other content or amplifying other voices.
Is it their responsibility, or is it the audience's responsibility, or is it YouTube's responsibility? Whose responsibility is it to say these things? You know, like if they don't know that what they're saying is wrong, then how are they supposed to change it? I feel like it somehow should come from the audience. You know, that if their content is problematic, that the audience should not watch it. We should not watch it.
Yeah.
But we are watching it. We've all watched it. And so whose responsibility is it now?
I think it's YouTube's responsibility, in my opinion.
To pull it off entirely?
To pull things or to say something's not right. Because it's like, it's such a crazy platform where like, I was watching some videos where they were talking about how like if lesbian is in the title of a video, it gets demonetized.
What?
Because the algorithm picks it up as being inappropriate. So all of these like LGBTQIA plus creators, their content's getting demonetized, but fucking Jake Paul can loot a mall in Arizona. So they claim that it's like learning because it's the AI does the first pass. And so they've learned, which is also kind of sad, that the AI has learned that. So if they can do that with their AI, why can't they? Why are no other steps being taken? Why have Shane Dawson's videos been online for so long? Why does bad content circulate? And like now I know they take down like COVID conspiracy videos.
Yeah.
Because I feel like people on Twitter are always like, I can't believe it, freedom of speech. I'm like, bitch, you signed a user agreement. This isn't, you're not standing on the sidewalk. You're using a platform that's a privately owned company that doesn't.
YouTube is, their compass is led by advertisers. And advertisers they're not led by a moral, ethical compass either. These are companies that just want to sell products.
Yes, they don't have like a moral and ethical compass, but they do have rules and regulations, right? Lou Berger has a song about vaginas. It's completely factual. It is not sexualizing a vagina. It's just facts. It's age gated. So you have to be 18 and sign in to get on those videos or to watch that video. Yet you can watch something else that's horrible. There's some Logan Paul video or something that's not age gated. And it's like, why? Why? It's not a universal standard. And I think a lot of it has to do with like, who are the biggest creators, right? Shane Dawson's.
Who makes the most money?
So I think, they just need to get their like rules better set.
Allow problematic videos to exist from these creators because they create a lot of news stories, and that creates a lot of viewership, including these apologies we all watched because they're circulating, which creates a lot of money for YouTube.
And their audience that are watching these things, like speaking of age gating, is kids. Kids are watching Shane Dawson's videos. Kids are watching the apology video. Kids are watching.
And you can't expect kids to, I mean, they are consuming the content that is put out there. You can't expect them to consume something and then take it in and then have
good judgment on who they should be following.
Right, exactly. They're going to follow who their friends are following.
Yeah.
And so it goes right back to maybe it is the responsibility of the creators because they are creating for kids and they need to put out content that is inclusive and, something that doesn't hurt people.
That should be like every platform's general. I mean, you cannot put out content that hurts people.
It would be a better place if everyone was trying to put out content that was inclusive and enacted change in the world and set an example for good and raised up voices unlike your own.
And cultivates an audience that just cares about people.
Yeah.
I mean, we all have responsibility too. So it's a question for us as well.
And I think it is on people who do have other creators who have big platforms to speak against these things, right?
Yes.
We all have a decent Instagram following.
Speak
and
for yourself, Becky.
Rachel, we're going to get you there. We're going to get those babies are going to be Gerber baby models in no time.
They already are. Yeah. Rachel, you told me once that you get approached all the time.
Oh, the girls, we go to coffee shops all the time, and the girls get scouted at the coffee shops.
I bet. Oh my
for
gosh.
baby products,
of course
Ergo
they do.
Baby, Uppa Baby.
Oh, you get that free stroller, girl.
I know, that's like $1,000 stroller.
It is.
I remember when I was growing up, when I was like a little girl, I wanted twins, and my mom's like, okay, Maggie, whatever. And then I became a pediatric nurse, and I'm like, maybe twins aren't the thing. And then I saw Rachel with her 2 babies. I'm like, oh my God, she makes it look so good.
You do.
I want
you make it look
twins.
easy.
I'll babysit for a couple days,
She
and
makes
then
it
you
look
can tell
so,
me.
I know. Trust me.
It's
Kids
not.
are a lot of work.
Yeah.
But they're
They are. But we love them.
Did you want to get into any of the beauty vlogger drama?
The only other thing is, I think we got to remember when kids are kids. James Charles, when he started and was on this platform, he was a child. He was under 18 and he was befriended, I'm putting in air quotes, by people that were in their late 20s to mid 30s. That's weird.
It's not an
super
equitable
weird
relationship.
No. So I think while I don't think James Charles gets any sort of pass on his things that he has said, I would say personally, I feel kind of the worst for him. Not in any way that I would still continue to support him or have ever supported him. But I do feel same way I feel bad for Justin Bieber at times, where you're like, man, something's got to snap when you're that young and you get that famous and your voice is being amplified so much, but you don't even know what you want to say. Something has to snap. And then
there's a long history of that.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson, Britney Spears, all of these.
Amanda Bynes. Yeah. And then when you compound those things with, I'm not saying James Charles has any sort of mental illness.
No.
I don't know the state of his being. But with other child stars that we've seen, when they're young and they get super famous, and then, a lot of mental illness starts in your late teens to your early 20s, kind of the peak of when they're probably doing a bunch of drugs, probably their head's already getting messed with by the, paparazzi and all of these things. And so I can't imagine that kind of pressure on a literal child. And I think sometimes we forget that, when we compare James Charles and Jeffree Star and Tati and Shane Dawson and all of that.
Right. Some of them are adults and some of them are not. And yet we group them all into the same category. That is really interesting. I will say right now that I have never thought about that. I have been grouping them all into the same category and holding them all by the same standard. And yet they should not be. James Charles started when he was far too young. I mean, he can start whenever he wants, but, too young to have that kind of pressure on him. And, I think that a lot of YouTube stars start too young for that kind of fame. They don't know what to do with it. They don't know what to do with that voice.
Well, I think they should be held responsible. But they should just be told.
Right.
Like,
but
bad kid.
You know, like their parents. Maybe
Wait till
their
Becky
parents
becomes
have,
a parent.
I know.
Bad kid.
Bad
So you
kid.
say to Alfred, bad Alfred, bad.
He's a cat.
Yeah, not a baby.
It's okay.
Yeah.
We wag our finger at him. Yeah, I think it is again the responsibility of the collective we to hold people accountable for things that they say and do.
That was one of the main, I feel like I remember Shane Dawson repeating that over and over was, you know, I did that when I was a child and I'm no longer a child, you know, and that was his argument was I can say this now because I'm not a child. I can apologize for the things that I did, but I'm also not saying, I'm also not taking full responsibility because I was a child.
Well, and he's still been saying those things, right? Some of the videos that are circulating. He's like 25. I'm like, I'm going to do the cutoff at 21.
Yeah.
So yeah, like the collective we hold YouTubers and Instagrammers and TikTokers and whatever new platform comes up, you know, next year. The fact that we're starting to hold them responsible for things will make them think twice before they post that video, before they go live, before they do this. So it is, in a way, a form of progress. Whether or not we think individuals, the specific individuals we're talking about are going to have any change, I think the collective space is going to be changing.
Right. Absolutely. And YouTube is making the change too. You know, they have spoken. They have said, no money for you, no money for you. You know, that's,
Thank goodness.
That's what they do. That's what they can do. They're using what they can do. And we are using what we can do too.
Yeah.
We just started a podcast in the middle of all of this. You know, it makes me excited. It makes me nervous. You know, to be a part of all of this controversy, and to be talking about it. It's a strange time.
I know. Yeah, in the middle of a pandemic and of finally dismantling systematic racism, you guys are putting your voices out into the world. So what's coming up in the future?
That is a great question. What is coming up in the future? You just literally asked me to tell you what the future holds. And I don't know the answer to that. No. You know, we really want this podcast to be inclusive, and we want to talk about the things that our audience wants us to talk about. We invite you to come sit with us. We want to talk about the things that are interesting, the things that are on your mind. So leave us a review, put a conundrum in your review, and we will talk about it on the podcast. You know, send us an email at youcansitwithuspod.com/gmail.
/.
Let me try that again. /.net.
Yes.
Yeah. We're going to do some couples courts, talking about our own personal, you know, some relationship conundrums that we've had. We're going to talk about pop culture. We're going to talk about health and wellness.
Should we talk about who should boink, marry, kill?
We all know how it's
Maggie,
going to
if that's what you want to talk about, you got it.
I love playing boink, marry, kill.
You can do it right now. Go.
For you three? No, I'm just kidding.
Actually, yeah. Pick.
Let's do it, Maggie. Let's do it.
We're going to end the podcast with Maggie's boink, marry,
Who are you going to kill?
On the spot, who do you kill?
I'm not going to answer that.
You have to.
You gotta kill someone.
Okay,
No.
you can kill me. I know it's the hardest. I'll just put myself out
can't
there right now, and then
you have a child. You have a child, so Becky's dead.
Does Alfred mean nothing to you? I love Alfred. He means nothing?
No.
Okay, I'll take it. Who are you gonna boink?
Yeah. Who are you gonna pick?
You both have children. I could never do that to your family.
I could
Meaning
never.
that she would ruin our households because we'd be forever in love.
We're all married. Maggie would never be the other
Maggie
woman.
would marry everyone.
Yes.
I know.
And
You
marry
would
you all.
marry everyone. Okay, well, that's the podcast. Let's see. Becky, do you want to send us out with a song? Maybe
Because you're Keith's wife.
I don't know.
You know they say spouses take on each other's humor.
Or maybe give us like a bodily noise that you have heard recently. I don't know.
What?
I'm shooting from the hip here, guys. I'm shooting from the hip here. I'm just trying to end the podcast in like a fun way, and I feel like all I'm getting is negativity.
What about here? I'm here to support you, Ariel. What about we close with a fun fact about Becky? Go.
every time we close with a fun fact about Becky.
Okay. Oh, fun fact about me. So we've already talked about my name's Becky, trying to drop the Y.
Yeah.
Birth name Rebecca.
Yeah.
I have a brother named Michael, and Michael will never be called Mike or Mikey. My mom never allowed anyone to shorten my brother's name. Yet, I have never been called Rebecca by my family. Not even when I'm in trouble, I've been Becky. Always. Nobody calls me Rebecca.
Anywho.
But that's my fact, and bye.
Bye.